A scene that should have lasted only a few seconds on screen, but instead left a lasting impression on the hearts of millions of viewers. The cameras hadn't even stopped rolling, the director hadn't even called cut, but that look, a look that felt too deep to be mere acting, had already gone viral and become a hot topic. This was the beginning of an unexpected viral wave, as the kiss between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei once again captured the public's attention. It didn't take long for the clip to circulate widely on social media. Fans who had initially only enjoyed the storyline began to notice much smaller details, the way they looked at each other, the seemingly synchronized pauses in their breathing, and the seemingly natural hand gestures. It all felt too real. And that's where everything changed. What had initially been perceived as professional acting slowly began to be questioned. Many began to wonder, was this really just part of the script? Or was there something deeper, something unscripted, at play behind the scenes? Interestingly, fans' attention didn't stop at the scene that had already aired. They began digging deeper, looking for behind-the-scenes footage, old interviews, and even small interactions that might have been overlooked. And from there, various discoveries emerged that fueled speculation. Some fans claimed that the chemistry between the two wasn't limited to when the cameras were rolling. Even during breaks in filming, their interaction remained warm, relaxed, and most notably, consistent. There was none of the awkwardness that typically arises when two actors only play a couple on screen. Instead, what was apparent was a natural closeness. One of the most talked about moments was when they were caught laughing together after an emotional scene was filmed. It wasn't a fake laugh, but a genuine laugh that seemed to convey comfort with each other. And from there, a new narrative began to take shape. Fans began to piece together the pieces, like a puzzle that slowly formed a complete picture. They noticed how Zhang Linghe seemed more attentive in certain instances, or how Tian Xiwei seemed more open around her. These details might seem small, but when combined, they created something that was hard to ignore. Of course, not everyone was immediately convinced. Some argue that this is simply the result of exceptional acting, that as professionals, they are required to build the strongest possible chemistry to bring the story to life. And perhaps that's exactly what happened. But that's precisely where the beauty lies. Because the line between acting and reality becomes so thin, it's hard to distinguish. The process of filming the kissing scene itself was not as simple as it appears on screen. It required multiple retakes, adjustments to camera angles, and meticulous emotional direction from the director. Every movement had to feel just right, not overdone, but not flat either. And throughout that lengthy process, there were many unexpected moments. Some crew members even shared that the atmosphere on set became quiet while the scene was being filmed. Not because of tension, but because everyone seemed to realize they were witnessing something special, something difficult to describe in words. Fans became increasingly convinced that what they were seeing wasn't just an illusion, that there were real emotions involved, even if they were never expressed directly. However, it's important to remember that all of this remains in the realm of speculation. There has been no official statement. There's been no direct confirmation from either party. And perhaps that's what makes it all the more intriguing, because uncertainty is often more alluring than certainty itself. Fans' support continues to pour in. Many hope that if there really is something between them, it will one day be announced publicly. Not out of demand, but out of curiosity that has already grown so great. But until that moment arrives, the public can only guess, interpreting every smile, every glance, and every tiny moment captured on camera. And perhaps beneath it all, one thing is certain, that, regardless of whether this is all real or not, the story they portray, both on screen and behind the scenes, has managed to touch the hearts of many. A story that began with a simple scene, but turned into an unexpected phenomenon. Over time, the intensity of the discussion has not subsided, but rather intensified. Every old video clip is resurfaced, every small interaction reanalyzed, as if the public doesn't want to miss a single detail. Even moments that were once considered ordinary now seem to take on a different meaning. Some fans have begun to notice an interesting pattern. It's not just the physical closeness, but also how the energy between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei seems to be in sync. There's a similar rhythm in the way they speak, react, and even in their silence. Things like this are certainly difficult to explain logically, but that's precisely why speculation is growing. Many believe that a connection like this can't be completely fabricated, even by actors. Something has to come naturally, something that can't be forced just for the sake of a scene. On the other hand, the pressure of being public figures is also part of the story. Their every move is now under scrutiny. Every expression has the potential to be widely interpreted. This makes the situation even more complex, as the lines between personal and professional lives become increasingly blurred. Despite this, both of them maintain a consistent professional demeanor. On numerous occasions, they remain focused on their current projects, without making statements that could clarify or deny the circulating rumors. And perhaps that's the wisest choice. Because in the entertainment world, sometimes mystery is actually its own appeal. When something isn't clearly explained, the public tends to keep talking about it, keep finding out, and remain emotionally involved. Ultimately, this phenomenon isn't just about two individuals, but also about how a story can live off-screen. How the audience not only becomes a connoisseur, but also contributes to building the narrative through their own interpretations. And it was at this point that the story between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei transformed into something bigger than just a scene from a drama. It became a collective experience, something felt, discussed, and lived together by fans. Whether this will all culminate in a real confession or remain a story suspended between fact and imagination, no one truly knows. But one thing is certain, the attention they generated has left a lasting impression. And perhaps that's precisely where the true power of this all lies. It's not the certainty of the relationship the public wants to know, but the feelings they've managed to create. Feelings so real they transcend the screen. When the audience begins to believe in the emotions portrayed, the story takes on a life of its own. Even if all speculation is eventually debunked, the moments created won't simply disappear. The scenes, gazes, and interactions between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei have already become ingrained in the minds of viewers as something special. Something that's hard to replicate in the same way. And ultimately, perhaps this is what keeps the story going. It's not just about whether they're truly together, but about how two people can create a moment so powerful that the world stops for a moment just to experience it.